Hey, what is going on, crypto people? It is the Crypto Siege with another day in the life and the crazy life that is the digital asset space. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Happy Monday to each and every one of you. June 20th, 10:50 a.m. Central Time. Recording this freaking video. And I also wanted to do something here. Hold on one second because I forgot to do it. But some very interesting stuff going on right now in the news. You know, I don't think I want to cover this alleged casino coin scam. I think that's more just someone that's maybe not happy with some stuff going on. You know what I mean? I don't think I'm going to cover that. But anyway, so listen, some really good stuff coming. Crypto Eddie did a good video, a little clip of studies and another platform. Get ready to do some art on the XRP ledger. I'm going to cover that. The market, of course, guys, is doing what the market freaking does. What in the wide world? Celsius, the Celsians community, and actually the crypto community, as you know, is becoming more and more obvious to the community and the crypto community as a whole that, you know, the targeted attack is significant and is very real. And so they are, so the shorting that's being done by Alameda Slant FTX is a very real thing on the Cell token. You know, I've said on this channel time and time again, you know, that kind of that scourge and just the trading markets as a whole has been the shorting in the market. And there have been times where, whether it be Congress or regulators or whatever, you know, have really strongly considered, considered ending this all this short stuff. You think about a short is the short intention, especially in the stocks market, equities market, is about, you know, it's about taking down a company. It's about taking down a company, right? And so the whole shorting thing, I just think just not great. And so obviously the word got out, you know, more and more confirmation of the, you know, the attack because of Celsius network. Essentially, you know, it's just basically Celsius acted on behalf of its community and said, look, you know, this is not their words. This is me paraphrasing. Look, it lost its peg. It's lost its peg. We're not going to get involved in trying to repeg it. We have to consider our community first. And so they got out first. They got out of the whole Terra Luna thing. They got out first, you know, out of the 5 major wallets. And yeah. And so it looks as though 1 or 2, or if not all, now, you know, now people are kind of, it's really not just a revenge thing. It's also, you know, ultimately it's the people who realize that they can crash the market, right? So it's not just an attack on Celsius network and the Cell token, but it's also people who realize that they can crash the market. Yeah, so that's not a great thing. So a lot of people, Celsians and the crypto community as a whole, said, look, we got a way that we can you know, thwart off that short attack, right? Right now, for me, when I buy Cell token because it's a good price. I understand the utility in the Cell token, right? I understand the use cases, especially it's going to even get heightened more when the card comes out. So I buy it for, you know, for the utility and the use case of it. I've always had a Cell token to pay off loans that I had at Celsius, right? So I buy it for the use case. But when I buy it, of course, I buy it and I take it, you know, I don't leave it on exchanges, right? So I take it off the exchange. And, you know, in doing something like that, buying it because of the use case and utility and taking it off the market makes less Cell token available to the shorters who are trying to buy, you know, they're buying it one place and shorting somewhere else. And apparently that is working, right? So for me, you know, again, I buy it Cell token and I take it off the exchange, which takes it out of the circulating supply to be able to buy it, right? I put it on my MetaMask, right? And yeah, and you know, before the thing there, before, you know, the withdrawal on Celsius, and I take it off the market, right? That's what I do. And apparently lots of people are doing that. In addition to that, they're also taking a gamble on the fact that this short squeeze can be dethroned, and they're putting it on places like 1inch and they're selling it putting in sell orders at $10 to $20, right? That's not what I do, but that apparently is working. It's working big time. The idea of just taking that off of the market, and they're taking it to another level and going on platforms like 1inch and selling it at 10, 20, putting a sell order, because you can put a limit order on platforms like 1inch, right? And which is an aggregator. And you can put it at 10, 20, $100. You can put that sell order, right? So you buy it, you take it off the market, less available for the coordinated attackers to get. And these people are selling it on 1inch, right? So interesting stuff, to say the least. But again, yeah, I didn't want to cover the casino coin thing. I mean, the guy's calling casino coin a scam, but it's feeling like it's just one person. Like, I feel like it's one person who's not happy that his casino coin didn't get swapped or something. I don't own a casino coin, but that's what it feels like. So I'm not going to cover that. Let's go with the market. This guy, listen, this is your XRP Ripple daily news. In around 0 to freaking 10 minutes, let's go over the market. I just refreshed this. So the Bitcoin dominance is at 41.7%. The total cryptocurrency market cap is 947 billion. It's up 5% on 24 hours, but it is down, from 3 trillion. Yeah, Bitcoin's at 20,784. Ethereum is at $1,131. What do we got going on here? XRP is at 32 cents. Some interesting stuff going on in Solana. I mean, what's this deal with Solend, a platform on Solana trying to take the money from a whale who they believe, if the whale does continue to do what he's wanting to do, it could take Solana. Anyway, but apparently they voted on to take the guy's money. Then they did a second vote, and they're not going to do it. Crazy stuff going on over there. Look, double figure reds all over the freaking place, right? Interesting to see some greens on the 24 hours. So we'll see. I mean, several greens in the top 100, some in double figures. Avalanche on the 24-hour, 12%. On the 24-hour, up 12%. Chainlink on the 24-hour, up 10%. Oh, yeah. Well, I have a position in Chainlink now. Polygon on the 24-hour, up 10%, right? Different things like, oh, look, ApeCoin up 21% on the 24-hour, 20% on the 7-day. LBRY, 17% up on the 24-hour, 28% on the 7-day. Interesting. I wonder if that's because of the new EGLD staking. Yeah, we have tons of LBRY, like LBRY. Hoping that project will get back to those 200 plus per EGLTs like it was. So interesting to see. I mean, I don't know. 7-day Bitcoin Satoshi Vision is up 7%, 30% on a 7-day. High altitude investing is really, really big on Bitcoin Satoshi Vision. That's not a bad gain right there, 30%, 7 days. So we'll see. Again, a lot of double figure greens I'm noticing on the 24-hour. So is that a sign? Is that a sign that the market is turning around? We'll see. Double figures again. AVE 16% on a 24-hour in the green. Interesting Maker 13%. Right. So 17% for Quant on the 24-hour. So is that a sign the market's turning around? I mean, synthetics 54% in 24 hours. 54%. So anyway, I think that's interesting to see a lot of greens on the 24-hour. So obviously you need another great 24-hour and another great 24-hour to get to that 7-day in the green. So we'll see. Maybe this is a sign for the freaking market. We shall see. JV on Twitter's had an interesting tweet. I wanted to cover this. John Deaton is in the news with some. John Deaton is not. This dude is in it, right? I mean, it's not just him representing the 60-something thousand XRP holders. He's really getting into into crypto and becoming quite the expert, if you will. So Watch a Guru put this out. And this is what I was saying here. So Solana-based protocol Solin has voted to temporarily control the largest whale's account to mitigate liquidation risk. But there was a second vote, and Solin, said they weren't going to do that. Anyway, so JV at JV the Great on Twitter, I hope you're well, my guy. He said this. So is this what could happen to Ripple's escrow if they decide to start dumping or acting in a way that's not in the best interest for the XRP ecosystem? He just wanted to know, right? And David Schwartz actually got in on this, right? JB said, people clearly not understanding that this is in context to the voting process by the validators and not comparing Solana to the XRP ledger. Of course, they're completely different. I'm just curious about the voting process. To my knowledge, this isn't possible on that ledger except for an issued IOU. Correct me if I'm wrong. David Schwartz says, if you can convince the community to make rule changes, you can change the code in any way they will accept. Nothing is set in stone. Nothing is set in stone. Decentralized systems are very democratic because there is no way to force the majority to accept anything that they won't agree to. Wasn't 80-something% of the vote power for one wallet? David Schwartz says wallets have nothing to do with it. So very, very interesting question there. How it's very, the quote unquote decentralized nature of the XRP ledger and the system around it. It's pretty cool. Alex Mashinsky sells short squeeze has been really in on a lot of stuff here. Alex Mashinsky Celsius will survive. He says why? Because they have been preparing for this fight since the beginning. It's the fight of their life. He has been fighting this war, and now it's our turn to play some doggone defense. Doggone defense there. So this is interesting coming from eRob _ Cali. This is from the BIS. 90% of emerging market central banks that recently visited the BIS are already working in a very advanced phase of central bank money. 90% working in a very advanced phase of central bank money. And so it really does speak to Simon Dixon from Banks of the Future that there's, this quote unquote war with the central banks and commercial banks is going to take place. And the war is for relevancy in this space. It says he explains Augustin Carson, general manager of the BIS, 90%. That is interesting. CBDCs are coming. Bill pointed this out and is kind of speaking, I think it's kind of speaking to John Deaton. But let's take a listen let's go over this here. Bill, I call him Bill the attorney, is at Bellasaris 2020 on Twitter. One interesting point LBRY makes in his opposition to the SEC's summary judgment motion is that the Howey test is transaction specific, and the SEC has recognized this to be so. They cite Hinman's Ethereum free pass speech in support of that argument. It says that both the Supreme Court and the Commission itself has recognized the Howey test is transaction specific, and the determination that an instrument is a security at one point in time does not dictate that the instrument will constitute a security for all eternity if circumstances surrounding the offer or sale of the instrument change. Bill goes on to say, despite the fact that the SEC knows this, they now recently told the court that SEC attorneys gave him legal advice to ensure his speech was consistent with the SEC's understanding of the application of the Howey test to test the digital assets. They argue in their Ripple case that XRP, even in the secondary market, is a security, and that Ripple has made one continuous offering, apparently not transaction specific, for years and still going. You can't make this stuff up. And he tagged John Deaton, Jeremy Hogan here, and Fred Rispoli as well. Now, here's a specific example of LBRY objecting to the SEC's attempt to characterize specific offering or sales of LBC, which is their token, as a continuous offering, and drawing attention to the separate transaction. The SEC needs to argue a single continuous offering, both to support its assertion that cryptos are securities per se, and to try to convince the court that there is a common enterprise that extends to secondary markets, and all investors. SEC has just got themselves in a world of hurt. I wonder if this is a particular company firm offered, considered an acquisition of its assets. I don't know if Celsius is going to even consider this. I'm not sure why they would even consider it, but it said Change Finance. They spelled change, CHAIN, like in chain, GE, Change Finance. Celsius Network potentially facing insolvency affects us all. Finance Change extends a considered decentralization asset acquisition proposal to Celsius Network so that users can gain control of their assets. I'm not sure why Celsius Network would consider this. I looked through it, but just to let you know, that is something that is out on Twitter, but I'm not sure if Celsius Network would even consider it. I'm not sure why they would. John Deaton put this out on Twitter. Here's an interesting thing. This is a must point to make when speaking with elected officials. Gary Gensler and his cronies will act as if Bitcoin and crypto are the only assets to crash. I guess this Meta Platforms, Facebook, 100 is down 51% for the year and 172% in the last 24 hours. Is that right? I don't know which one is right here. I got 172 minus, one's for the year and one's for the past 24 hours. So in any case, that's a big crash, right? 170%. John Deaton is, I'm telling you, this dude is on it, and he's quick to call out the freaking SEC on this BS. And it's another tweet from John. I would definitely have to listen to Jacob's interview with Hester Peirce on the Law and Code podcast with Jacob Robinson. I look forward to appearing on the podcast later this week. Gotta love that. We have to tune in for that. So he is going to be on this podcast. Jacob Robinson tweeted, "Was an honor to discuss crypto law with the great SEC Commissioner, Hester Peirce." Tether, according to Watching Guru, Tether says it is preparing a full audit with a top 12 firm to provide more transparency on this USDT reserve. Yeah, well, I guess we'll believe that when we see freaking that. James Rule was good, my friend. He says another ETH gate, free pass ETH remains in the spotlight. I think this is interesting. I remember when we covered this about GameStop. James Rule says the free pass ETH remains in the spotlight. GameStop offers fast fiat to Ethereum on ramping to its customers with ramp integration. Yeah, and they're using LBRY, which is kind of like a ZK type thing. So the fees surely would be significantly cheaper, about 70, 75 cents. I'm curious as to how this wallet is going to work. I considered downloading it, but I did not download it. Here's the wallet here, GameStop wallet, and it's beta. And where is it? Says here, high speed, low fee. So it's on LBRY, right? Average transaction fee, 75 cents. Ethereum layer 1 average transaction fee, 65.75, right? So, we always get people who are closet XRP maxis who claim that they're pointing out the technology flaws in Bitcoin and Ethereum and fees and all that stuff. But there's always a solution to technology. And LBRY, ZK Snarks, ZK Sync, again, transaction fee average is 75 cents. So a payments thing could be built on a layer 2 on Ethereum. There's always solutions to technology, always solutions to it. Now, the greatest digital asset ever created, XRP, and the XRP ledger are game changers. 75 cents, right? 0.75 cents is awesome, but it's not 0.0001. It's not, right? But it is certainly better than $65.75. Right. So just always remember that, right? All right. So where are we here? I'm going to change. Yeah. So anyway, we'll have to believe, we'll have to look out for the tether. I don't know. I don't believe that they're going to do, this audit. We'll see. We'll see. It says here, here's Bill again. Now that we're getting a look at some actual evidence in the LBRY matter and how the SEC is pressing these types of arguments, your initial assessment so early in the SEC versus Ripple matter is looking more and more obviously correct. John Deaton said, this is why I filed the writ versus the SEC. The SEC is supposed to claim a specific transaction on a specific date equaled an offer and sale of a security. Instead, it alleged every sale from the beginning until today's security. So that was the second indication that the lawsuit was a weapon. John recognized it early on. Shout out to you, Jan. We appreciate you, bro. Crypto Eddie put this out. I think this is interesting. It says, respect to all the builders who keep building no matter what the market conditions might be. I checked in with Luca Bertoloni of He Studies Art along with Moonchaser. Our last group conversation was November of 2021. Congrats on your Ripple grant. So they got a grant. Yeah, long live the XRP ledger. So very, 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 very good. Shout out to Crypto Eddie. Hope you're doing well, miss. It's hugely important, right? In these times that we just continue to freaking continue to build, right? Sell Short Squeeze put this out. This is a message to anybody that's in crypto. Every competitor and VC is pooling together to ruin Celsius and make the whole crypto market suffer. You don't have to like Celsius or have money there. If you have loans in DeFi, they are trying to drive Bitcoin down to 13,000, liquidate your loans as well. Yep. The coordinated attacks affect everyone. That's why I had pointed out with, if in fact the Terra Luna was a coordinated attack, if it was, it affects everybody. There is still, the jury's still out on the quote unquote coordinated attack in Terra Luna. It is not on Celsius network. It's obvious. It's there. It's plain insight. There are plenty of you can check stuff, and you can see the shorting. That shorting's been going on the Cell token for a little bit. You can see the coordinated attack for sure on the Bitcoin, trying to liquidate that wrap Bitcoin thing. But again, it affects everyone out there in the crypto market. My guy, Simon Dixon says, I smell a rat in the leverage boom and deleverage crash. It ends with banks buying up crypto companies. Well, let me say it again. It ends with banks buying up crypto companies and stripping them of their assets before the CBDC rollout. This is why it's mind-boggling to me for people to not get behind Celsius Network. Celsius Network from day one said that this was about a fight for the banks, right? And Alex Mashinsky knows when he's talking about the banks, he's not talking about your neighborhood bank, your community bank, your regional bank, for crying out loud. He's talking about the top 5-8 banks. The other 9,990 banks have to pay to play in the banking system. He's talking about Goldman's and Citi and JP Morgan when he's talking about a fight against the banks. Not talking about your freaking Texas community bank. Not talking about that. Don't get me wrong. The crypto sector screwed up. He got effed up here. Doing all the things I teach investors to avoid, but I'm following the money. Banks are buying up the crypto companies and stripping them of their assets before the CBDC rollout. The CBDC rollout is about the central banks. So the war, again, with commercial banks and the central banks is going to happen. It's going to happen. Central banks want to become more relevant, and the commercial banks are trying to not lose their relevancy. Remember, the vast majority, 70, 80% of the money out there in the world comes from the commercial banks and the printing that they do in the fractional reserve banking, rather, that they do. So understand, that's the fight. And we can get totally in that fight and just be harmed by it. Somebody said, you can't buy it and strip a decentralized blockchain, mate. Simon says, you can, as most of them are owned by Silicon Valley in the background. Right? That was the big thing about the Solana blockchain. Right? Who were the investors? Who were the VCs in Aave? Right? Again, this is a guy, a former investment banker, a trader, big time trader. Again, did run conferences and stuff early 2013, I believe, and is big time in the know. Right, and you know, he's a guy who was early to Coinbase and early to, you know, the Bitfinex, early to Celsius Network. He's acquired equity in all of these companies early on. He says you can, as most of decentralized blockchains are owned by Silicon Valley in the background. Right? Interesting stuff. You can never, and I guess just really can never forget that. Binance just, shout out to RippleXRP for sharing this. Binance, Crypto Well put this out, says Binance just admitted to using Tether, which is, if they have Tether, it's their Tether, right? So it's their money, using their money to buy $2 billion worth of Bitcoin this weekend to stabilize its price. Right? So when people buy an asset, right? What's the purpose, right? I buy sell token for the utility. I believe it has great utility. It's going to get more utility. I buy sell token. I put it on my MetaMask, right? And or deposit it on the platform, take it off the market, take it from the circulating supply, and that looks like does really well in squeezing the people who are trying to short it. And a lot of the community and the crypto community, Celsius community and crypto community are buying to sell, take it out of circulation supply, get it in off the exchange, which you should be doing anyway, which makes less of the sell token available to short. And what they're doing, I'm not doing that. What they're doing is putting it on 1 inch and then setting a limit order, right, for $10 to sell at 10, 20, whatever, because you can do limit orders on 1 inch. And again, that is another thing. We don't need the market crashing, do we? As average retail investors, do we need the market crashing? I don't think so. Do we need the market crashing to 13,000? I don't think so. Do we need to see more of us, the average retail Jane and Joe, being liquidated because of a coordinated attack, not the market doing what the market does, but in a coordinated attack to kill the market. Not a great thing. All right, guys, listen, that wraps up my XRP Ripple daily news in around 0 to 10 minutes. I'm going to end this video like I do all my videos and remind you guys of this.
Old money doesn't want you to win. They don't want us to win. They would rather that we remain a cog in their perpetual wheel of trading our time for dollars. They don't want us to play in the same playground that they play in, where we allow our money to work for us. This is our chance to win, guys. The digital asset space is our chance to win. We are in the midst of the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of man. Are you participating, or are you standing on the sidelines? Here's what I do know, that the battle for you has already been fought, and the victory is yours. Go get it.